G'day, I'm Alex.
I'm Jake.
And today on Intense we're going to find out how this alien looking piece of hardware can make that 60 series slushy automatic perform with better fuel economy and just like a brand new automatic gearbox. So before we do anything on this car, we're going to take it up the hill for a spin to warm up the auto trans fluid before we drain it, and Jake's going to tell you how the gearbox is performing, what the issues are that he's having, and hopefully we'll resolve them by the end of the video.
So when I got my hands on this vehicle, it became quickly apparent that it's not shifting as it should. We tried servicing it and it still hasn't fixed it, so now we are actually going to do some transmission upgrades. The main upgrade you do is a valve body change. The valve body is basically the brain for an automatic transmission. You've got a bunch of cylindrical and planetary gears, so it's all one big circle all the way through the transmission. The valve body sits underneath and channels hydraulic pressure to different parts of the gearbox to initiate those gear changes. It's not doing what it should, and the gears aren't changing as they should. So what do you do if the body is fine but the brain is wrong? You change the brain. Here it is, the Nomad valve body from Wholesale Automatic Transmissions, somewhere in the eastern states of Australia. I've chosen this one because they do it on an exchange basis, so they send you what you need, you take your old one out and send it back to them, and they upgrade that one for the next person coming along. So this is a remanufactured valve body. Well, remanufactured and upgraded. The reason I chose this one is because this is the only one I know of that also gives you the new option of having your torque converter still lock up even in third gear at the same speed it would normally lock up in overdrive, which is great for towing something up a hill. Alright, they ask you send them a photo of this area of the transmission, lets them know what exactly the settings of the valve body you want. Some basic instructions: you get a new pan gasket, a recalibrated accumulator spring, and a new filter. And then it's well packaged. This is the brain. This is what chooses how and when your gears change in an automatic transmission. Now in the old cruiser transmission, which is an A440F, it's completely hydraulic, so there's no electronic option to push a button and lock up your torque converter that way. We have already removed the bash plate / stone guard. Now, this gearbox lotion is going to be quite warm, and I did get that on the floor. Dad is going to destroy me. Now this is so clean because we serviced it recently. Unless your transmission is properly adjusted and serviced, don't start thinking about doing an upgrade like this. Now this one was properly adjusted and serviced and still wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. That's when you should dive deeper. It doesn't smell burnt or anything. So while we're letting that drain, it's a good time to disconnect the kickdown cable with the wrong size spanner. So we're just loosening that off, makes it easier to disconnect from the cam on the side of the valve body. Remove the oil pan. Best to put the bung back in before we remove the pan so you don't get oil sloshing everywhere. These bolts are 10mm. There's like heaps of them. We'll just loosen all those off. The ones towards the back here can be a bit of a pain because the cross member is in the way, but you know, there are a lot of difficult things in this life.
Alright, don't spill it, because I'm wearing my $7 flano today, not my $3 one.
Oh, dude. 7's the lucky number.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, just take the weight.
So we hold the pan while Jake finishes off these nuts.
Release the Kraken, Alex.
Alright, here comes the Kraken. I don't know what to do with my other hand. Oh yeah,
don't worry.
the tube's a little bit A-gown, where the dipstick goes in. Oh, it gurgles. Oh, we've lost a light.
Oh man.
You should still have enough to see by.
Ooh.
Wow. It really sings the song of its people, doesn't it?
Yeah, because the filter...
It's coming. It's coming.
I just don't want it to come suddenly.
Yeah.
All over my face.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh, it's juicy. It's a juicy number. We should have got rags.
No, I've got the panic tray there, see?
The panic button.
Look at that. Be careful with it.
There.
Look at that.
Not a drop wasted.
Let it do its thing, you know? Examine the pan.
Yep. It's a pan.
Examine the magnets. Yeah, there's a bit of gunk on there. Nothing to be alarmed about because I have put new fluid in and that's gone around and cleaned everything, and then it accumulates on these magnets. So give these a good wipe. And this is why you need to service your transmission when required. Otherwise it fills up with this black gunk. The whole pan was black. When you look at when I did the service for the Outback Sound Instagram, this whole pan had black sludge, which isn't ideal, so you've got to service your transmission on time, keep it clean. Okay. Now, see how it's been sort of constantly precipitating out of the gearbox. When you take the filter out, it's going to do that even more. So be prepared for a bit of rain. It burns us. So that's why you need your panic tray. This is an old boot liner out of something, but yeah.
Now, remove valve body. Remove all 10mm bolts.
It says to remove every 10mm bolt. Pay attention there. Don't remove every bolt that you see, or else you will be disassembling your valve body piece by piece. This is it. If I continue, this will be the furthest I've ever gone into a transmission. It is still going to hang on by the cable when we drop this, so that kickdown cable has to be disconnected. I'm not sure exactly how, but I can feel it in there, and usually cables are just connected through a hole and then they slot down. There's no sign of this precipitation slowing, so we'll probably just remove it and, you know, then degrease the floor afterwards. So panic. Now it just said drain the pan, it didn't say drain the whole transmission first, but at this point it seems like that would have been more simple. Because there's no sign that it is slowing! That end is being held up by the cable.
Disconnect throttle cable from the cam.
Guys, Alex is going to have to switch off there and help me because this is a three-handed person job.
Remove the valve body from the transmission case. Here's the old one that we just got out versus the new one. Not much different, but you can see it's got a hard line here for some reason, whereas this one doesn't have that. It does have the clamp for it. Otherwise, it's very much the same looking piece of equipment, which is what you want, because otherwise it's not going to fit back in the gearbox, is it? I reckon the biggest tip either of us are going to have when it comes to getting that part out is try and drain as much fluid from that transmission as you can, because what came out initially when we drained the oil pan was there was like double that still left in there, and it made a bit of a mess. So try and get most of the oil out. Otherwise it was pretty straightforward to get it all out. So now we have to go back under here and replace the accumulator spring, which does one or two things, or one of two things, either this or the other. It either stops things from accumulating or it makes things accumulate.
Yeah, look, it doesn't get any more quick maths. Point is, we don't have to know what the accumulator is. Point is, it just has to change. Blue spring. Okay, they give you the 4 grommets to replace that just go between the drain back lines, and they should stay up there with the vacuum of the natural vacuum of the fluid.
And you see that big open hole there that my finger's pointing to? That's where that accumulator spring came out of. Now it's time to put this new valve body in.
Yeah, those yellow things have to come off.
Okay, those yellow things have to come off, says Jake. Because I guess that's where fluid has to flow. And it's come with the gasket already mounted on it, so it's ready to just go in. It's probably going to be a 2-person job, because one person's got to hold that accumulator spring in place because it keeps trying to come out. And there's a throttle cable that goes on a cam here. Hang on, let me bring this up and show you. Come on camera, focus. Here, there we go. This thing here, this is where the throttle cable goes. And there's a little hole somewhere on there. Anyway, it's tricky, and one person has to hook the throttle cable to that. Here she comes.
Ready?
No. Oh, yep. Oh, the tricep power required is insane.
Yeah, now you know my feels.
So keep holding that spring right there.
Okay.
Oh, I think my face is hemorrhaging. Yeah, when you're trying to push a massive nard and you nearly pop a vein in your eyeball.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling. Are these all different lengths, too?
Yep.
How good? Stop it, Ron.
I can't find the thread. You're gonna have to hold it with both hands there.
Yeah, I got it. I don't love it, but I got it. Hopefully all those grommets stayed in place with all them knocking around.
Oh, now you shouldn't have said that.
I know, I shouldn't have. But
You know how bloody anxious I am now. You bastard.
we should look at it.
We should.
No dicking around with ratchets and just guessing by hand, okay? We're using a torque wrench. The little destruction manual that they give you with this kit tells you to go to 10 Newton meters, and the only one I have that goes that low is the little Tool Pro 1/4" drive. 10 Newton meters for the 10mm bolts, and then I think it's got some 8mm ones there, which are like 5.7, something like that. Gasket.
Okay. Now we've torqued up all our 10mm bolts and go around and double check them, because as you torque each one, things change.
It comes with a brand new filter.
And gasket.
And gasket.
Because they care about
your well-being.
Just adjusting the torque wrench down to 5.4 for the small 8mm bolts.
We got one more thing left. We've got to get the oil pan back on. 20 bolts, 6.9 Newton meters each, but we're actually quickly running out of daylight, so we're going to slap this on, fill it up with oil, and we will come back to you tomorrow, or 3 seconds in video time, and see how this kit goes. Hopefully she goes awesome on the road. There you go, Jake.
Thanks, man. Alright, let's give it a speed run. Completely manual, first gear. Very nice change from first to second there. 3,000, 3.5. Third gear, torque converter locked up shortly afterwards because we're going above 70. Torque converter is locked in, 90 k's an hour, 2,500. 100 k's an hour, 2,800. Drive. 2,000 RPM, 100 k's an hour, up to speed just like that. Wasn't counting. Why would you on a diesel vehicle? Really happy with that. This gearbox has added so much personality to the whole vehicle. It drives like a different vehicle. I've noticed it holds second gear longer, and then the switch from second to third is also firmer, which is really nice. It changes to fourth at 65 k's an hour if your foot is not too deep on the throttle. Otherwise, it'll hold third until the torque converter locks up. And my favorite feature is dropping it back to third, and the torque converter stays locked in, and you get access to really good torque going up the hills. We found ourselves holding 80 k's an hour up a hill in third. And that's not going from a faster speed before you hit the hill. That's the speed we got up to, and then the torque converter locked in, switched it down to third, and kept climbing up this hill. So I'm really happy with that. And with these older engines, where you don't have access to kilowatts or horsepower, you need the gearbox to be working as efficiently as possible. You know, these older engines don't have the strength to hold one gear and pull like these newer petrol and diesel V8s do. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Cheers.